To guide us through the next topic, here is Mark Barta, lead software engineer at Olystic Technologies. How we turned the Olystic website's content needs into a reliable set of Orchard Core widgets and UI kit components on .NEST, the hosted Orchard Core software as a service. He will walk through the components, the authoring experience, and how we manage assets with a focus on developer experience and code quality.
All right, hello everyone. I hope you don't mind, but I'm in an important Teams meeting right now. But anyway, so my name is Mark Barta. I am a lead software engineer at Olystic Technologies. And since Zoltán didn't introduce Olystic properly, I will do it for him. Olystic Technologies is a software engineering software developer agency with more than 10 years of experience with working with open technologies like Orchard Core, doing software development, consulting, and training. I'm working with them since the beginning, since 2013. They just couldn't get rid of me. I'm doing software development, and I also do project leadership. Project leadership means that I do technical planning with the client, I do communication, I do technological leadership like code reviews, and of course software development as well. This is the spoilers for today. Let's move forward. So let's talk about Olystic. What is Olystic? This website is about the Olystic company's website. Olystic is a consulting firm based in Olympia, Washington. Chris Durkin, our client, is actually sitting among us. He's the president and founder of Olystic, and he will introduce his company properly after my talk during the Q&A section. I just want to mention that we worked together before, our companies on client projects, and this time he asked us to develop the new website of his company. Let's do a demo of the front end at least. Okay, so this is the website. It's a multi-page agency website. The homepage is a landing page starting with a hero section with an image in the background. Then there is a short introduction about the company. Here is a list of services that Olystic does with a link to the services page. Here is, I just want to mention that this is a local environment because the website itself is not in production yet, since there is some content management work left. But locally I can show you with some dummy data. So here you can see a carousel of the projects that basically serves as case study of Olystic. Then here is another carousel, which is a testimonial carousel. If I go through, you will see that the testimonials are changing. And now, if I hit F5, then you will notice that there are the testimonials, but in a randomized order. This is interesting. I will show you how it's done. Next up, here is a blogs widget. Blogs, 3 blog posts on the website, the 3 latest blog posts with a link to the blog. And here is the call to action widget, which is shown on every page. On the right side, you will see another testimonial. This is not a carousel, but if I refresh the website, the testimonials are shuffled and randomized again, which is really interesting. The other pages are a bit less complex, but what you will see is that minor changes and repetitions. So certain widgets are actually repeated around the website. So you will see here about his history and other interesting facts about the company. The Why Choose Us section, and the core team, where the team members are linked to a detail page of that particular team member. Here you can see Chris. And the call to action section again. On the services page, it's a hero section again with the same services widget. And the carousel is repeated again with the case studies. Our client section, which is also repeated around the website multiple times. Here's the testimonial carousel again, and some other quite simple content widgets. The projects page is basically the list of all the case studies of the website. On the blog page, you will find, well, a blog with the latest blog post displayed, as well as the blog post itself. If I go to actual blog post, this is the detail page of the blog post with all the text and other stuff. And if we click on one of the tags, then it will redirect us to the tag page. One tag is used actually can be used for both blog posts and the projects. So these are grouped here and listed, reusing their own styles. And on the contact us page, like basic contact details, and with a contact form using workflows in the background, and testimonial, random testimonial again. So I think this is it as for the front end. But now let's, before I go to the widgets, let me talk about other things as well. Like, for example, what is DotNest and why is it hosted there? DotNest is an Orchard Core software as a service, where you can go there and create a site, or more like a tenant, in seconds. Orchard Core is DotNest is an actual Orchard Core site with more than 6,000 tenants, showing that how scalable Orchard Core is in practice. It's a really good and easy way for agencies like Olystic, or someone who wants to start a blog, or somebody wants to create a content API, if somebody enjoys the content APIs of Orchard Core. But anyway, it's an easy way to start your website. You don't need to worry about hosting at all, because everything is managed and hosted by Lombik. And beyond the basic Orchard Core features, it already packed with third-party extensions. For example, Mike's AI modules are there. Also, Antoine's themes are already there, and you can use them. Where you can't deploy custom modules like custom C# code, it's not allowed, but you can deploy your custom theme. Currently, if you want to build a theme on a pure Orchard website, then you need to use the admin UI templates feature, which is great and quick way to create shape overrides. You can write CSS code there, or you can upload the CSS file to media library. But basically, this is what you have, a template editor with basic code highlighting. But you don't have versioning, you don't have proper linting, you don't have automated tests if you want to do. So it's not the best developer experience. However, Lombik came up with a solution. This is called media themes. Media themes basically allows you to develop themes in your favorite IDE, Visual Studio or whatever. You can work locally, you can run the app locally, you can see your theme developed in action. And then you can deploy this theme, particular theme, to the media library of the production application. It means it will grab all the liquid files, it will grab all the assets like CSS, JavaScript, and images, pack it up to a recipe, and it will be deployed to, well, .NEST uses this feature, but since it's an open source technology, you can choose to use it on your own website too. And this is the technology basically behind Olystic. It's hosted on .NEST, and we use a media theme with a theme who develops it properly with versioning, linting, and automated test as well. Assets. Now, for a theme like this Olystic website requires assets like CSS and images, everything to be deployed to your website. But let me tell you a story about how we manage these assets back in the days, I don't know, 2020s or something. Our goal always was the same: to be able to implement proper CSS code, which is SCSS allowed us to, from an engineering perspective, to produce quality code and manageable and future-proof, and components as well. So SCSS was a really good choice back then. We wanted linting, and we wanted a really nice developer experience. So when somebody, either a client or a new developer, clones the code, hits F5, then everything is compiled and ready to use. Our choice for these was Node.js plus GAP4 back then. Also, we used MS-Build toolchain to, make sure that the GAP pipeline will compile all the SCSS assets to the dev.root folder. And basically, that's it. That happened during build, that happened in the CI/CD, during deployment or whatever. It worked, but we did have frequent build errors. So every time a new developer came to Lombic, or every time we actually handed the code over to the clients, every time they experienced some error. And it was always different, which is very funny and annoying at the same time. Either GAP CLI was missing or not working, or I don't know, Node.js version, whatever. So in 2023, GAP4 actually became unsupported with the Node.js version at that time, which I think it was after 14, Node 14. So we needed to actually dump GAP4 finally. And without GAP, we only used Node.js and an MS-Build toolchain to reproduce the same linting, SCSS compilation, whatever, so we can have the same good developer experience. It worked. There was very few errors on client machines and the new developer's machine, but it was fragile. In Node.js world, whenever a new package comes, something else breaks. So it requires a lot of maintaining effort for something that's actually for the developer experience and not for an actual feature. So it's actually not a nice cost, not a nice way to spend money and effort on. And we actually, before this Olystic project, we started thinking about, do we actually need Node.js? And do we actually need SCSS at all? And we figured out that modern CSS is actually sufficient enough to implement styling for your websites. It has nesting, for example, which is one very important way to produce quality CSS code. Although it doesn't have mixins, so we had to come up with some workaround on that. But either way, we were still able to create nicely structured CSS files with imports. So every component had its own CSS file. It's reusable, it's maintainable, but it's CSS and it's in the dev.root, committed to the repository. No more MS-Build, no more Node.js toolchain, nothing to break, and everything just works. Now, if you are worried about performance, like for example, you have a lot of not minimized CSS on the production environment, it's actually not that a big deal because at least our applications are all cached by Cloudflare and all these assets are cached in the Cloudflare CDN, so no issues at all regarding performance. And this is, Olystic was the first project where we actually started using this. We were very happy with it since, I don't know, it just works. And we are still working on improving it. Okay, another technology behind the Olystic theme is that we are using base themes. Base theme is a really nice way for all the client projects we have, where we can structure our commonly used components, common layout with all the zones supported, whether the client actually need that zone, it's not important. It's there if we need it anytime. We can do shape injections easily. And we have some basic styling for gutters, breakpoints, components, whatever. This is open source, so you can use it with an extensive documentation. Just check it out if you want. Another technology is UIKit. As you can see, we really like to reuse our components, since it basically allows us to maintain the quality of the products that we create, since we reuse the working actual widgets. And with Olystic, we too reused a couple of widgets and created a few new ones. So for example, carousel, the section widget, the random widget, which I will show you, the button widget. These are all reused, and I will show you. Also, this is open source, and you can try it out. Okay, widgets. Here you can see the home page editor. What you can see here are mostly section widgets. For example, this is the hero widget. The hero widget doesn't have its own widget because it doesn't make sense most of the time, at least, or at least on Olystic it didn't make sense to have its own widget. It's just a section with an option to create a title. Oh, by the way, this is an HTML title part. Basically, does the same like the other title part, but it allows you to create an HTML code with a WYSIWYG, and it will be transformed to display text properly without HTML code. We have an image for the background, and this top DROM, it's a little bit technical, but it's at least extensible. This classes dropdown will allow the admin, kind of the technical admin, to give it classes. And the good thing about it is that it's not free-form text, so you can choose about the supported classes. We are planning to use this on other widgets as well, and it's extensible, and all the stuff that's implemented in base theme is already there. But for now, it's only on the section widget. You can choose the image position, which is either above or behind. And of course, there is the flow part, where you can put all your section content in there. For this hero section, it was just a simple text for the markdown. There are other sections as well. It's kind of the mechanism behind it is basically the same. We have markdown, we have image widgets, but I think just to show something interesting, this is the button widget. Simple, but it's well needed. It has an URL, link test, a target, and type, is it primary, secondary? Can't recall if we have any type of buttons other than primary on Olystic, but at least it's here. And the size, and other styling as well. Okay, what's interesting here is this content item widget. This is not a section widget, and I will show you why. This content item widget is basically a generic widget where you can pick a content item, and it will just display that particular content item's shape where it's positioned. You can see that it's displayed with a detail display type. Okay, let's check what are these content items. These are called reusable widgets. I will show this menu item. You can see there are 4 reusable widgets on Olystic. One of that is the list of our services. It's very simple. It has a title and it has a flow. flow part. Inside that, you can have whatever data you want to reuse on other pages. So in this case, here you can see that, on the home page, the Our Work reusable widget content item is displayed, and on another page, I don't know where, it will be reused again. So the admin editor doesn't need to worry about these kind of things to re-implement them or refill them with data. Another interesting widget is a query widget. If you want to list something in Orchard core, you implement queries, which is cool. You can write SQL code, you can write Lucene or whatever. And there are really cool liquid filters to display all these widgets, but those are liquid code. And sometimes admins doesn't want to write liquid code, they just want it to work. And this particular widget is exactly for that. So this is a query content items widget where you can select what query you want to display. In this case, it's services. You can limit the items to 6, whatever you want to display. You can tell what display type to use. And here is one shuffle results. So when you saw that the testimonials are randomized, you can actually randomize them by this item, by this property. Let's see what we have here. That's interesting. Here is another reusable widget editor, which is the have a project in mind that you saw the call to action at the bottom. There is no title here this time. This is a section widget. On the left side, you saw all the, have a project in mind call to action text with a button. And then on the right side, there is a widget called random widget, which is almost the same than the query with the shuffle results. But this particular one is for actually picking an item and display it, just one item. And here is the actual random widget item, where you can select what kind of item you want to randomly pick, the display type, how many of them. Yeah, it's very similar. And yeah, finally, the Our Work reusable widget, which basically a very good example of how you can use a carousel, because we have a carousel widget. This is how the case studies and projects are displayed. And here's a widget for that, where you can select what query to use, how many items you want for the carousel, and sort order, and yeah, descending or ascending. Okay, I think that these are the widgets that are interesting to show here. Let's go back to the slide. Challenges and fixes. Well, since we are doing a case study here, I want to talk about challenges and issues that we faced and how we fixed it. There were a few minor bugs, styling issues, whatever, during the UAT that Chris and his team did. But there was one particular bug that actually annoyed me a little bit. The tags on the blog weren't links. Okay, easy, easy fix. You can make the taxonomy terms to show their display pages, but that style wasn't ready to be enabled, so we needed to tweak those. And we did. It looks nice now. But it made me realize the lesson I learned with this, that we need to think beyond the specs. I'm not talking about features that the client didn't request, but if we are implementing, let's say, a blog, probably you will need a text page. Or if you are implementing an agency website, probably you will need SEO capabilities. So these are the things that we need to somehow automate or at least somehow make sure that in the next project it will come automatically and there will be all these features ready. So one thing that we could do is that we improved our base theme to include all these stylings for these, like for example the tags. Or we actually use starter recipes. Just a quick change of topics. A few weeks or months ago, we ran a survey, probably few of you actually filled it. It was called Orchard Core Starting Experience, where we measured how Orchard Core developers start their project. What are their difficulties? Where do they stuck? Are they using AI? And the result of that survey was that, well, one, we need a better documentation. The second was that people would appreciate starter recipes. We have a couple of starter recipes, but we need more. We need more granular recipes, something that actually helps the developers to start their websites quickly and reproduce something that works all the time. And this particular one is actually made me realize how important this is. So this is what I will focus on this on the next week. So we will have starter recipes ready for the community, for us, and we will have much more quality Orchard Core websites in the future. Okay, that was it on my part. Thank you very much for your attention. Before the Q&A, I'd like to ask Chris to talk about his company. Victoria is giving you the microphones. Are you ready?
I'm Chris Durkin. I have been involved in the Orchard community for a long time, since back in the 1.x days. I myself have done lots of Orchard projects for clients, but only in the 1x world. So when I needed to do a company website, I was ready to trust Orchard and Lombeek, but I wasn't ready to personally do it. So I hired Lombeek to do it using .Nest, and it went really well. We've discovered some things along the way. My company is a consulting firm. I mainly work for large government clients, and Lombeek and I did a project for a government client back in 2018, I think. They had several websites, one of which was Orchard 1.6, I think. There were a lot of weird customizations in that project too. So that seems to be my theme. Every project I work on, I develop tons of custom modules and go way beyond like what Orchard was originally designed to do, which is one of the great things about it. It's very adaptable. So thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a question?
Hi, thanks very much. You mentioned when you moved away from SAS to pure CSS, you have challenges obviously around mixins.
How did we overcome mixins? I think actually we are using, for example, media queries, we are using tag classes like breakpoint XL, breakpoint whatever. So for example, for these we are not using mixins anymore. And we are just using tons of utility classes. We are still, by the way, working with the BEM. I guess most of you are familiar with it. So BEM with utility classes that we think it's maintainable still, and it's a good way to write CSS.
I would like to ask you regarding the .Nest platform, because we have similar solutions for providing for customers with some unified system that you change only the CSS and styles, etc. So I'd like to ask, in your experience, what is the percentage of projects that you are able to create on the .NET? Because we often encounter that we are not able to build the solutions on the unified platform. It is too complex to be hosted on the same solution. with just the CSS styles and little modifications.
So this is something related to the hosting environment, that there are a lot of assets or a lot of code that you are hosting, or where's the bottleneck?
The bottleneck is in that every customer has different requirements, and many times they have completely different widgets than the other customers, and it's not customizable via the CSS. We would need to change the content type definition to fit all their needs. And yeah, we have shared definitions across all clients, so maybe that's...
Yeah. As for performance issues, I don't know, but the experience we have is basically we use shared content types, we use a shared styling with base theme, but for each particular tenant and client, we can have overrides like Liquid. For .NET, it's Liquid because we can't host custom modules, but if your solution accepts custom modules, then you can approach it differently. And I don't know, do you think, Zoltan, if there's anything else to add here? Because I don't think there's...
I can add a little bit. Yeah, Drew, so just add a little bit on that. Having a multi-tenant SaaS, of course, only makes sense if most of these applications are fairly similar. DotNest is a generic object for SaaS, so that's not necessarily the case. And because of that, we only host those of our projects there, which are simpler websites, or where we think that it needs some new functionality, but we can implement it in a generic way, and it will be useful for our other apps and for the community as well. Olystic was a very good example for that, the Olystic website. A couple of others too. Pretty much the cutoff is that, do I need to write C# code for this app, which is just for this app? If yes, it won't work in a multi-tenant scenario, but on .NET at least.
Okay, thank you. That's my question.
Thank you. I wanted to ask how you handle JavaScript code when you don't have Gulp, Node.js ecosystem. Do you use self-hosted libraries, or how do you handle this?
Well, first of all, we actually do not implement that many or complex JavaScript code, so it would require, a bundler like Vite or Webpack or whatever. So there's that. If we're talking about third-party libraries, we fetch them with libman lately. So we have those ready to use in the browser. So these are the browser versions of these assets. And every other JavaScript files that are, quite simple, these are just copied or actually placed in the dub root lately. So we don't do any minifications for the same reasons that we don't do minification for CSS files, but still we have them with components and stuff. As for more complex JavaScript, we have a Vue.js module, which is a different story. If we need Vue.js, we will use bundlers, or maybe we do not use bundlers in there. Anyway, we have a bigger stack there.
Okay, and what about performance when you don't use minification on these JavaScript files?
No issues because of the Cloudflare caching. So,
and also because of HTTP2 actually. So with HTTP2, first of all, you have multiplexing, and secondly, you have gzip compression by default. So minification has a little bit of benefit, but not like 10 years ago. It's almost no benefit, but there is actually a benefit in having it split up in multiple files. Bundling is an anti-pattern.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone? Okay, thank you, Mark, for
Thank
the
you.
presentation.